You're listening to Becoming CEO, where we share our journeys as solo founders to becoming the CEO of seven-figure businesses.
And these are our behind-the-scenes conversations as we figure it out. And these are things that most people just aren't sharing.
The simpler thing is just don't take vacations.
That sounds like a horrible idea. I want to take as
Just
many
don't
as
go
possible.
anywhere. Just don't do anything outside of work. Just work all the time, nonstop. Live and breathe it until you die.
Yeah, the take every Friday off thing works way easier than going away for a full week and you want to be disconnected. That's for sure.
Lots to unpack here, but set the frame. You are going tomorrow to...
Yeah, I leave tomorrow for Hawaii, family vacation. Never been. Obviously, the two kiddos, one just about 6, one 2.5.
Not a vacation by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
Continue.
And it's we're flying direct, which is going to be like a 7.5-hour flight. Did I say that there was a sub 6-year-old and a 2.5-year-old? So that's going to be, tomorrow is going to be a long day for sure, but super pumped. For those of you that are as old as I am, and if you're older than me, then as old as Ahmed, and have seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall. We're staying at the resort from Forgetting Sarah Marshall. So hopefully Paul Rudd is there and he's going to give me some surfing lessons.
So I suppose maybe a brief conversation on why take vacations, why you need to do things like this, even though traveling with kids is not a vacation at all, but take those gaps away from work and travel. Give me the pitch for that. Why is that a good idea?
I mean, for my own mental sanity, for sure. The stability and health of my marriage. I'm pale as hell for those of you watching the video, so I'm really excited to get a little bit of a tan, hopefully. Now, I say that and it'll probably rain the whole time. No, man, I mean, I'm not working just to work all the time. That's for sure. I'm not a scale or die. Every moment I'm going to be working. F that. So I'm stoked. We've been wanting to do a trip like this for a while. We paid for the whole thing on points. Thank you, Amex, for giving me 4x points on my paid ad spend over the last couple of years with upgrades. So that's going to be pretty sweet. But yeah, no, I'm actually...
Whoa, what do you mean 4x? 4x? What do you...
Mine's 3x. But apparently the same card now offers 4x, but they won't let me upgrade.
Which card?
The gold card.
Gold. Okay. I got platinum. What does that get me?
I don't know. I have no idea. I think it depends on when you signed up. I get 3x points on ad spend.
Yeah, I don't pay for travel ever.
Yeah. So yeah, our flights, our hotel with an upgrade. I think we spent like $500 out of pocket to get an upgrade to this bungalow thing. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, that's super cool. But no, I think why for the business, I mean, you're always going to come back and you're going to figure out there's certain things that are broken once you're away, which sucks, but is also helps open up other opportunities for making it more bulletproof. I think I'm going to be fine. I think I'm not bringing my computer. I'll bring my iPad. I'll journal and stuff, but I haven't had Slack on my phone for a while. So that's been a huge help for me personally. But we didn't have a great January and we cut back ad spend, as we've talked about in the past. I forget if it was on the show or not. And we're actually having a pretty good sales month. I hop back into sales. I got a couple deals across the line, although I'm super rusty and effing that up. The more that I talk to people, it's just I shouldn't be talking to people. But we're improving there. I don't know if that's, it's probably from leads that came in the month prior in some situation, although there's a few that came in this month. So I feel like we have some good positive momentum. And it's oh wow, Greg's gone for the next week. That hopefully doesn't take away the momentum. because I feel like things have been like, I've seen like little signs of improvement. Everyone's getting clear. We're all communicating really well. Um, and so, yeah, so it's like, it's almost, I know that I need it. I know that I want it, meaning to go away. But with some of the little signs of improvement and all these things happening, like I'm also energized to like get back to it too. Um, which I want to make sure that I'm not trying to work on this vacation, um, minus journaling and reading. Like I want to journal, write, and read. Um, Again, I said I have two kids under 6, so that is also likely not going to happen as much as I'm hoping for. But yeah, that's kind of like the frame for the trip.
The relationship piece is a big piece. I just don't feel like, and not just with your spouse, with your kids, it's just really hard to bond and strengthen those relationships when you're stuck in the day-to-day of work, school, extracurricular activities, etc.
Yeah,
I just find that going away, even if it's short trips, like a weekend away or a week away,
yeah,
uh, just that kind of like you're just the, in your case, it's 4 of you, right? It's just the
yeah.
4 of you. There's no other distractions. You're together for, a week uninterrupted. That forced relationship building is really good for the family unit.
Totally. And we haven't had a real trip like this since before COVID. Um, we had our daughter Marin like in 2020. So uh like outside of like long weekend trips and some drives, like this is like the first real, or going back east to see my family for Christmas, which is also, sorry
Doesn't
mom,
count.
not a vacation.
Your
um
mom doesn't listen. That's okay.
she
Doesn't count.
My dad might, but hi dad. Yeah, so I mean it's going to be like you said, totally important. Sarah's been working a lot as well, and so she's like she really needs this as well. So yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. And like Cole at the end of last summer-ish, swim season, like he's like so close to just like getting it. So to like be at a place where we could like be in the pool and like I'm like, all right, like maybe this is the time where it's gonna like click and he's gonna like swim and figure it out. So yeah, we got a couple like little adventure type things that we can do. Like we rented a Jeep, so we're gonna like kind of drive around as well. But yeah, I totally agree. I think that's super important. I share this one thing with clients a lot that I learned from Russ Perry while going through his version of Wake Up Warrior. From Garrett J. White, and it's this thing called the Core Four: body, being, balance, and business. And like, if you could imagine, I'm not drawing, but if you can imagine like a ladder, and body being at the top, one rung down, being, then balance, and then business. And one thing that was taught to me that I still use as a barometer today is if you feel like something's broken, say at that bottom level, the business, um, more likely than not, the answer and the cure and the fix is actually one level up, which is body being balance. Business would be balance, which is your relationships. And every time I'm like, oh man, something's going wrong with the business, or I'm feeling bad about the business, as most of us probably do, like we double down and like we work more, we stay up later, and that actually just takes you away from the relationships with your kids and your spouse. And it's like it makes that piece worse, and it's like that's actually the problem. And it's like I always use that as kind of a reference. And so I see this as just an opportunity. It's like, yeah, like I could easily plug away this week, but like, is it really going to change the trajectory? Like if it does change the trajectory of any momentum, like there's obviously something broken still anyway. So whatever, like go enjoy yourself.
It's maybe a whole other episode, but I also think, to your point, for people like you and me who, and this maybe only applies to if you have a family,
Mhm.
but for people like you and me who have families, spouses, children, and profess that that's the most important thing to us, right? Like that's more important than business. to then behave in ways that are not in alignment with that belief
Mm-hmm.
creates discord.
Yep.
Right. And that discord has all kinds of negative consequences in the family and in the business. Right. You can't say in one breath, my family is the most important thing. My kids are the most important thing to me. And I'm not going to sacrifice or compromise time with them in
Right.
one breath.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the moment something goes wrong, family who, I'm heads down in the business, putting out fires and solving problems because I believe I need to.
Yep. Agreed.
Those are conflicting ideas, and that's going to lead to a conflicting identity. And a conflicted identity doesn't get a whole lot done.
That's for sure. And also like you kind of said it, but like to extract a nugget of that, when you say something like family is the most important, yet you are spending all of your time in the business. If you're saying that to the market, like if you're like, yeah, like I do all these things, and like on Instagram, you're like, oh, family time, and then like you're not actually doing those things. I think little things like that actually chip away at your own self-confidence, because it's like you're not honoring your own word, which means you're probably doing that other places as well. Which, obviously, like, how can you be confident in yourself if you can't even do what you say, like that you say you're doing, and that's important to you? So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not like worried that I'm going to be working at all. Just again, like I'm not bringing devices, deleting work applications and things like that. The team is totally fine without me. Like it's not like we're not going to go under or anything by me being away. They'll probably get a whole lot more done is really what the reality is. And then I'll feel bad about myself that I'm not needed, which is great.
Well, I find the biggest challenge with going away is not practically that anything terrible is going to happen. It's just managing your own fear around being out of touch and out of pocket.
I'm actually more afraid of, and this is not afraid, like fear is, that's the wrong word. I get tons of great ideas like when I'm disconnected, and like it's how do I capture some of the goodness that's going to come from me just being disconnected in a way that I can, it doesn't go wasted. Like that's why I said, like, I want to be able to like wake up, have a coffee before the kids wake up, and like get a little writing done, and like just like journaling. I'm going to be reading some books. I'm not a big like fiction person, so like yeah, like I'm reading biographies, business related books, and stuff like that. Like that's just because that's the type of content that I enjoy. So like there's inherently going to be ideas. I guess maybe a question to you is like, when you go on vacation, like, I don't know, do you read fiction? Like, would you just suggest not reading anything business related? Like, because I'm like,
dude, I'm just trying to figure out how you have time to read with 2 kids under 6. Like, are you just being naive right now? Because
I might be.
Listen, I go on vacation with all kinds of intentions, right? Yeah, I'm going to get up before the kids and have a coffee by the beach, and I'm going to journal on my iPad. I'm going to read this book, and none of it ever happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably
it's okay.
Yeah, that's actually going to probably be the reason why I don't get any like semi work or whatever you want to call it done, or journaling. But no, I mean, I wake up before my kids all the time and get it in normally. So like, I don't see why that's going to be at least not a possibility.
I can see it. I'll tell you this, like for the sake of why is this good for business?
Mm-hmm.
It's a really interesting book. It's called Tinker, Dabble, Doodle, Try: The Power of the Unfocused Mind. It's written by a guy whose name I can't remember, but a Harvard psychologist.
Say it again.
Tinker, Dabble, Doodle, Try: The Power of the Unfocused Mind. And the basic premise of the book is that the unfocused mind, right, has tremendous problem-solving creative capabilities. And we tend to think that the more our brain is active and engaged and focused on solving problems, the better the output is. But what the book essentially demonstrates through a variety of studies and proofs is that it's actually when you take your focus off of the problem and off of the challenge and off of the work that you create the more creative, innovative solutions, right? So this is why your best ideas come to you when you're in the shower, as a really simple example, right?
Yep.
Because you're unfocused, right? Or this is why if you're working on something, let's say you're writing a piece of copy, right? When you're hammering away at the keyboard, whatever comes to mind is what comes to mind. But usually the best ideas come to mind after you walk away from the keyboard and let your mind rest and then make connections without your conscious effort. And so what you're going to do now is you're going to do that for a week, right? So you've got business problems kicking around in your mind for the past 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, right? You know what they are. You know what the problems are. But right now you're staring so hard at the problems day after day after day that you can't see around them. You don't have perspective because you're in the business, working hard, looking at the problems every single day. And now you're going to go away for a week and you're going to stop looking at it. And that's going to give you perspective and help you see solutions that you can't currently see because you're too deep in the weeds.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And to me, it doesn't matter if you write it down or don't. It doesn't matter. When you come back to the business, you're going to have a new perspective on things just by virtue of a week of unfocused time, not thinking about the business actively.
Yeah. Which I'm super stoked for. And I feel like is needed. Especially like, and I think we might have talked about this in a previous episode. Like, I think last year and definitely the beginning of this year, I've been really just, I think, one, asking myself, like, what do I want out of all this? And what am I willing to do to get to certain numbers? You know, like, why not? Why 5 million and not 3 million? Right? Like, what is 3 million? What is 5 million going to get me that 3 million isn't? And like, historically, my answer has always been just like, it's really about ego. I want to see if I could do it. And like that over the last year, that has just become way less important to me, you know, especially when we have the conversation of like, if the importance of going on trips like this, like the season of life that I'm in right now, I want as much time freedom as possible. I want as much profit as possible. I want to have, you know, as much time with the kids before, you know, they're going to hate me and going off to college and stuff like that, which I know happens before college. But yeah, so like right now I'm in a season where it's like, yeah, I'm not like gunning for anything crazy, and I'm not willing to sacrifice certain things to get there. And all of like I think where I'm going with that is this time away. I actually think I'm becoming more comfortable in my own skin, like admitting that, and admitting it in a way where it's like, I don't give an F what anybody else says. Like, oh, you don't want to go to 10 million or like whatever. Like that just like before that hit me. And I think I'm just getting more secure in my own wants. And it's times like this where it's like when I'm away from the business that is, those feelings are reinforced. And so I'm also like, I'm kind of excited for, you know, just sitting on the beach, you know, feeling like, yeah, like I'm on the path and I have a lot of what I already want.
Yeah, and just plus one to this idea of spending time with the kids while they're young. I mean, we're joking earlier about how it's not a vacation and you're not going to come back rested because you're taking care of kids the whole time, right? But that time's limited. Like before you know it, kids are going to be older. They don't need you.
Yeah.
They're going to have their own interests. They're going to be out of the house, right? And I don't really love the idea anymore, to be perfectly honest, but I used to have a regret letter that I used to read every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
You probably heard of the practice, right? Like write a letter to yourself, like listing all your regrets, right? And I really don't love the idea anymore, to be perfectly honest. But in that regret letter, I had a line. It was like a line from my children's viewpoint, and it said, "We had a great life, and Dad did really well, but he was never around." Right? Like that would be my like all the money in the world if you're not actually actively involved in your kids' lives and they don't have formative, positive childhood experiences that center around you. What's the point?
Yeah, totally. I feel that for sure. Yeah, like what's it? What are we doing this for? You know, like that's the one of my former mentors. Like, what do we want to have happen here? It's like, well, I want them to, I want to have a relationship with them. And there's a lot of moments that, like, in that book, Die With Zero, I don't know if you've read it yet. Really, I liked it a lot. And they this concept, which I've mentioned on the show before, like net fulfillment. And there's this concept of like memory dividends. And, like in business, like business can pay you dividends. Well, it's like, I'm sure that there's going to be experiences that happen on this trip, both good and bad, that I will be referencing and referring to for the next 2 decades.
100%.
Like they will pay, like, it'll bring me back to that moment when we were all there together, and it's going to be so worth it. And like those are going to be those types of like memories that are like, man, like I'm just glad that I have that. Like that's going to be more valuable than another client, coming through the door.
Yeah, 100%. So have a great vacation.
Yeah. I have one pro tip,
And-
actually, at least that I think it's a pro tip. I don't know if you do this,
Go ahead.
but to your point of, it's not a vacation, you come back and you realize it wasn't really a vacation and you're not rested. So we, at the time of recording, is a Thursday. We leave Friday. We take a red eye back late Wednesday night. And so we arrive Thursday morning next week. And so obviously I have Thursday and Friday off into a weekend. And so it's like, I'm coming back. I'm going to have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of like being back home with also not working, versus coming back and it's like, oh, it's Monday and you got to hop right back in. So we try to do stuff like that to give ourselves like a day or so to like recalibrate before jumping back into work, which has worked up until this point. So hopefully it continues to work. I don't know if you do that.
And not the red eyes. That's really brave of you with kids.
Well, they're going to
But
sleep.
hopefully they sleep.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, it's like a 9 p.m. flight. So like they'll be getting tired, if not asleep. And then hopefully when we land at 6 a.m., which is about when they usually wake up anyway, that they'll at least sleep most of the flight / so will we.
That's true for small kids. Like my 11-year-old would be up all night reading and then she would be miserable the next day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it can work for your
And they
kids.
can't read yet. So.
All right. And then Friday, we're back on recording.
Friday we're recording. That's the only thing on my calendar. It's the only thing on my
We're
calendar.
going to do a post-mortem on the
Boo-boo.
vacation. We're going to find out how it went and whether you actually experienced all the benefits that we have been advocating for today.
Yes. So
No
everyone, if your vacation isn't scheduled, get it on the calendar. Kids or no kids, it's needed.